What is up, everybody? It's your boy Corn. Welcome here to Hap. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. First of all, second of all, I came across a video, and I don't know if it's just the algorithms or whatever, because you know the whole Kevin Samuels thing that's happened. So the whole manosphere, everybody's running to the manosphere now and all this other stuff. But so I don't know if it's the algorithm of the manosphere or the whatever sphere this video is coming from, but like the algorithms YouTube is doing is just ridiculous. It's been ridiculous for a while now. It seems like everything that's whatever. Long story short, this video was in my was in my recommendations. I've never seen this woman. I don't follow this woman or subscribe to this woman, whatever. Never nothing. Never watched her content, nothing. But I saw the title and I was like, you know what? YouTube, you got me. You at least got me on clicking on this fucking video. So I clicked on it. I got about 2 minutes into her story and I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop right there. Say no more, fam. What better way to finish out this video than to actually record my reaction? It's been a while since I've done a reaction video, but I feel like I need to do this one. Just because, well, I just feel like doing one. So, without further ado, let's listen to what Myra West has to say.
I'm going to share two stories, one good example and one bad example of how to cold approach a woman. One is how not to, and the other is how to, without coming across as creepy. And I'm going to start
Never mind.
with the bad story first, because that's the most dramatic. Okay. So a few days ago, I was rollerblading, and I was practicing smiling at everybody that I came across because I'm socially awkward and I was trying to practice some social skills and see what happens if I give like a friendly smile to everyone I come across.
Nothing wrong with that.
And other people were smiling back at me and it was all very pleasant. So I just smiled at this one guy who was riding a bike and we were going opposite directions and he smiled back and that was that, I thought. Then on the way back, I was
She's gonna act surprised. Never mind.
rollerblading and he came up behind me on his bike. He must have turned around. And everything was fine. He was like, hi. And I was like, hi. And at that point, I was 100% receptive of having a conversation. I felt good. Everything was good. And I wanted some practice talking to a stranger. So everything was welcome. And we talked for the next maybe 15 minutes. And I didn't get any creepy vibes. This was all good. I gave him my Instagram so that we could maybe stay in touch and whatever. And
Why? Because she's gonna get, as we already know, spoiler alert, dude's gonna come across as creepy. Well, your first mistake was giving him any kind of information on you, but whatever.
everything was fine. He had also asked where I worked. And I said where I worked because
you're a fucking idiot. And then you wonder why dudes come to your, like, whatever.
it was just in conversation. I said that I was going to rollerblade, or that I was rollerblading right before work so that I had a shift today. So that's all fine. If that was the only interaction, you can do that. I mean, just an easy... I mean, don't ask where the woman works. So that could have been my first warning sign.
Not even a warning sign. That was your first fucking mistake. You gave him your place of business.
So I went to work, and that day, he came in to my workplace. And I was like, okay. That's nice, I suppose, that he came to my workplace and we chatted a bit, and I was like a little bit weirded out, but also I was friendly. And he asked me,
I got a question for females, man. When y'all get weirded out by dudes, why don't y'all just say it? Why do y'all have to wait until like the very last, like, worst of the worst happens and then y'all like, I feel very uncomfortable. It's just like, well, you're telling this story, and I'm feeling like you've been uncomfortable since the beginning. Why didn't you say something to him?
What I was doing after work, and I was like, oh, nothing, I'm gonna go home. And he was like, well, do you want to go out with me? And I was like, no, not tonight, I'm gonna be tired after work. And then he was like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, you want to go out with me? And I was like, maybe. And at that point, again,
Maybe.
I was like kind of overwhelmed, but also a little flattered. So I couldn't give like an answer, but
This chick is and this is where I stopped it, by the way. This is where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop this right here, and I'm gonna fucking record my reaction. It was right when she said this. This is the dumbest fucking explanation in the fucking world. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong. But this is the dumbest explanation in the fucking world. Overwhelmed, weirded out.
I knew that I wasn't attracted to him. I knew that
She knew, and it should have stopped right here. It should have stopped right here. This should be the story right here. This should be the end of the fucking story right here. It should. I knew I wasn't attracted to him. Okay, then you should have stopped right there. You already knew what he wanted. You know you don't want it. Be gone.
first time I talked with him, that I wasn't attracted to him. And I also knew that the situation was getting out of control, and I wasn't sure what to do because this had never happened before. So that's kind of where we left it. I said I would let him know on Instagram. I would give him a message if I was going to say yes or no. I didn't, and the next, what happened next? What happened next was I was rollerblading again the next day. And he was on the same path, and we intersected again. And he was like, "Oh, I thought that was you," and he was on his bike. And this is when...
Now, this doesn't even sound believable at this point. It sounds like but I do know there are some weird-ass, motherfucking, creepy-ass dudes out there. So this also does sound a little bit believable of how persistent this dude is. But I feel like the only reason why this dude is persistent is because she's not giving him clear fucking signs. I'm not a sign. I'm like, look, fuck the signs. Say something. Do you like the guy or not? Do you like the girl or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're saying, well, I was doing this and I was acting like this way, but you didn't say anything to him. He asked you on a date and you said you didn't even say yes or no. You said, mate, like, the fuck? Whatever. Let's keep going.
I was not happy to see him. This was the third time I'd seen him in 2 days. And I was not happy to see him. I just wasn't. But my normal disposition is friendly. So I was like, yeah. I was trying to be nice. And I rollerbladed and he biked with me up and down the path for the next, what must have been 40 minutes. And for all 40 minutes, I wanted him to leave me alone and go away.
I cannot be the only one saying it. As you guys are watching this, I cannot be the only one saying how dumb she is. Bruh. Dude. Dudette. What the fuck are you doing? You're saying you were chilling, rollerblading, which is pretty badass, by the way. I feel like more people should rollerblade. That's a pretty cool thing. I just want to say that. Really cool hobby. But you're rollerblading for 40 minutes with this dude, saying to yourself, screaming in your head for him to go away. And you didn't say anything. what the actual fuck? And yet they want to complain about, like, she has no reason to complain. She's bringing all this shit on. Like, I'm not saying that, like, if anything happened to her, she would bring on something. I'm not saying that, so don't go all fucking weird or whatever people do. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying all the persistence of this dude. I think persistence is the word, right? Persistence of this dude. I mean, it's justified because you're not telling him shit. You're just letting him be around. And that leads to the point of this chick only wants attention. She likes attention. But we'll keep going.
But at the same time, I've never in my entire life told another person, leave me alone and go away. Like, it's not in my nature. So I was just...
And this is why y'all have problems, man. It's not my nature to do that. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I don't want to seem mean or anything. Like, fam. What? Like, this is why people have problems. It's because we like to say, oh, yeah, I don't want to be mean, or, oh, I don't want to this, or I don't want to that. It's like, well, if you don't, you're just going to continue to have this fucking lingering fucking issue, which in this case is a person. Because you can't speak up for yourself. Because you can't say, hey, I just don't like you. Or, hey, I'm just not attracted to you. He might have gone away. But now you over here bitching on YouTube, which is your right. You know, it's your channel, whatever. I'm not, whatever. But it's on YouTube. And I saw it. It was in my room. So I am going to say something about it. You are fucking retarded.
Friendly, but at the same time, I was giving complete, very clear nonverbal cues that I was not into the conversation and I didn't want to talk. For example, I wouldn't ask him a single question, and when he wasn't talking, I was dead silent, and if he was silent, I was dead silent. Like, I was putting in zero effort whatsoever into the conversation. And like, I wasn't smiling or laughing. It was just, I thought it was incredibly clear that I did not want him there. And I was...
Again, without telling him.
Also making comments like, well, I'm getting really tired, or like, well, I think I'm gonna go, or something like that. But he did not. He just completely ignored all of that and continued to talk to me until the very end, when I finally was like, okay, I'm socially drained and I can't keep up this conversation anymore, so I'm really want to just rollerblade alone. That's basically what I said. And he was like, okay, all right, well, I'll see you later. And I was like, maybe. I know, I said maybe. But at that point, I just didn't want to see him. And then guess what? He came into my workplace again the next day. The next day, he walked into my workplace again. Oh, and the first time he came into my workplace, he stayed for hours to wait for me to close, to wait for the business to close, and I'm the person who closes the front doors. So he literally...
I don't know if this story is going to take a bad turn, but before it does, if it does, I just want to say, this is what I'm telling you, man. No matter how bad this story gets, I don't want to think about worst case scenario, obviously, but it's a possibility, right? I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be worst case scenario because she made a YouTube video about it. But I mean, you never know. It is YouTube. And it is 2022. But I told y'all. I've been telling y'all, man. All of this because she couldn't tell somebody no. All this, and this dude so she can't even come up with the excuse of he was in an influential position, he had money or anything like that. She said from the jump, she wasn't attracted to him, she didn't like him, he seemed weird, he seemed like a creep, and yet you still let him hang around and you still gave him all your information, except for literally your address and probably your social.
Came up to the front doors and waited for me to come shut the doors so that he could kind of pounce on me and ask me out. And
by the way, I'm not defending the dude. This dude sounds like a fucking creep. Either that or he seems like somebody that just doesn't know how to read signs. that are like blatantly. If she really did all this, and I feel like you shouldn't really need to have signs to know that what this dude is doing. Again, if even true, because she might just be doing this just to get some views on YouTube and make dudes look bad. Which, if this is real, she still can't really make dudes look bad. Like you're just shitty at communication. But anyways, yeah, this to me, again, I don't think is like a justification of the dude, but at the same time, if you can't read signs, like this dude obviously is a creep, but she still hasn't told him no. She still hasn't said leave me alone. She still hasn't said go away. So I don't know how bad the story is going to get again, but I just want to say that before we get into, I'm guessing what is going to be either the meat of the story or the ending of the story.
Did that again the second time he came into my workplace. He stayed for like 2 to 3 hours until close. And when I saw him come in that time, I said a quick hi, and then I completely ignored him 100%. I avoided him, I ignored him, I didn't make eye contact with him. I didn't give him anything whatsoever because I was not happy to see him. And I...
Hours on end. Hours on end. And it's stories like this, man, that really makes me think that, like, when I was a restaurant manager or a manager at I didn't own a restaurant or anything like that, but I was when I was a manager at a restaurant, I should say. And there were times where I had to ask dudes to leave because they were creeping, or because a chick that was on our staff, different chicks. It wasn't the same chick every single time. But there was a handful of times where I had to ask dudes to leave the restaurant, the establishment, because I got a complaint from one of the employees saying that she felt unsafe because dude was creeping on her outside of work. Multiple chicks. Multiple dudes. But who knows if it was something like this, where it was just a dude that simply just couldn't read signs and the chick wasn't telling him shit. I'm not saying that was the case. I'm just saying, I'm just looking back at stuff like that now after even 6 minutes into this shit and thinking to myself, oof, well, maybe, just maybe, they just aren't telling dudes no.
Wanted to be left alone. And like, that is such a clear, that's the most clear you can be in communication. He would not have that, didn't take a hint, and he stayed until closed, and he walked up to the front doors waiting for me to come to shut and lock the doors. And at that point, I was like hiding in the back room of my workplace because I was like, I can't believe he's doing this to me. He's forcing me to talk to him because I can't get away from him because
Nobody forces you to do it. Nobody in this situation is forcing you to do anything. And that's the problem we face in today's society. I was forced to be in a situation. No, you weren't.
I have to go lock the doors. So I did. I went out and I like gave him kind of a fake smile, like, hey, hi, how's it going? And he was like, well, so I just want to try again. Do you want to go out with me tonight? And I was like, nope. No, I didn't say that. I was thinking no.
Of course not. Of course you didn't fucking say that. Of course you didn't say that. Of course you didn't say that.
I was like, you know what? I've been working on an Instagram message. I want to explain where I'm coming from, and I'll give that to you tonight. And he was like, okay.
What the fuck is this? Is she in middle school? This is a grown-ass woman, by the way. This is an adult female, by the way. Acting like a fucking 13-year-old. I don't even think 13-year-old girls do that shit. I mean, it's 2022. Like, Jesus, fuck.
Hey. So then that night, I wrote out the Instagram message saying very clearly, I do not feel romantic interest or attraction. It can't be clearer than that. And I said a couple paragraphs of all the reasons why.
You could have made that shit clear, like fucking at this point, 5 minutes ago into the like 2 minutes into the story, but whatever.
I didn't want to pursue anything or start anything, and I gave multiple reasons, but the most important one is I didn't feel attraction or interest. And then he responded with like 3 long paragraph texts saying things like, I didn't know this would be such a long story, but saying things like, I just really want to see.
You made it a long story. You made this into a long story.
Like what you're capable of, what kind of art you can create if you didn't have to worry about rent or a place to live. Like he's insinuating that we were gonna live together and he would pay my rent. And then he was like, and I just can't help but imagine that we could travel the...
Yeah, that dude's fucking weird. And fucking creepy. But again, all of this could have been prevented.
world together. We could live in Switzerland and Austria together, like talking about like future plans, and we don't even know each other. And he was like, I can't help but feel that the moment of eye contact and the smile that we shared at the very beginning, that it meant something deep. And I want...
See, this nigga been watching too many movies.
To explore that with you. And I was like, all of that could be romantic in like a movie or something, but he doesn't know me, and I gave him I told him no clearly many times, and I gave all of the signs that I was not...
Wait, what? Alright, hold up. We gotta go back. Did she say she just told him no plenty of times?
And I gave him I told him no clearly many times. I gave him I told him no clearly many times. I told him no clearly many times. And I gave all of the signs that I was not interested. I can tell.
I'm not even gonna say nothing.
I completely ignored him the entire time. It just cannot be more clear than that. Alright, the story gets better. He sent another message, like, the next day, saying, alright, I'm gonna shoot my last shot. Meet me this afternoon.
So this dude says he's gonna shoot his last shot after all of this. Both people are idiots. Like both of these people, and both people in the situation are idiots. I just gotta say that.
And let's figure out together, like, what's gonna happen, blah, blah, blah. So he asked me again. And this was, like, probably the 5th or 6th time he's asked me on a date. Probably 6. I didn't respond because I was like, I said what I needed to say. I said no. I said I wasn't interested. And I said it very respectfully. And it was hard for me to say no because it's not in my nature. And I also said, like, I'm complimenting...
Okay, so since it's not your nature, you're going to continue to be in fucking situations like this. You're going to continue to be in situations like this. Because it's not in your fucking nature. So to speak.
Complimented by your interest or something like that. Anyway. Today, just now, the reason I'm telling this story is because I was walking down the same path today, and he just so happened to be on this path. Which, by the way, what are the chances that he keeps running into me on the same path? Like, does he come here every single night? I guess, do I come here every night too? But that's irrelevant. I was walking down the path and I looked...
Very relevant. Because if you both met each other on the same path, you probably are going to more than likely see each other on the same path. And especially if you just said, if he walks that same path every night, and you walk that same path every night, that's pretty fucking relevant. Or maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
Up and I saw a man walking towards me, and I was like, could that be him? It kind of looks like him. And I was like, I don't want to risk it. So when I saw him, he looked up and he saw me. And we both kind of had a moment of recognition. And he was about like 50 to 100 feet away at this point. And right when we saw each other,
50, 200. There's some holes in this story, but whatever.
I immediately turned to my right and changed directions and walked to the beach, walked to the ocean. And so it was like so incredibly obvious to him that when I saw him, I turned around and I walked away from him to avoid him. But what did he do? This is when, like, I lose all faith in him. He saw that and he decided to turn around himself and start following me. And I looked back to check where he was. He had turned around and was following me down, like, the empty beach. And that's when I was like, okay, this is creepy. Like, I was pretty understanding about all of it until that point, until tonight, when I was like, this is creepy. He saw that I turned around to walk away from him, to avoid him, and he chose to turn around his direction and follow me. Like, that just goes beyond any common sense of, like, reading verbal or nonverbal body language. Like, I was giving such a clear message that anyone would be able to pick up on. Anyway.
Probably not.
That whole story, that long story, is my example of what not to do when cold approaching a woman. And how to come off as creepy. And might I just say that this man may not be creepy. He might be a normal guy. Like, he totally might. And I have faith that he could be. So I don't really consider him a creep. And when he talked with me, he was nice. Like, he was a nice guy. It was normal. So the story is kind of like how not to come across as a creep. Like, even if you're not a creep, if you do these things, you can come across that way and you can scare off people.
I gotta say, he had to have come off as a creep to begin with, because the dude asked her where she worked off of the first meet. So it's not like they had a date or anything. When he first met her, in the first conversation they even had, he's asking her where she works, and she gave him the place of her. Like, she gave it to him. So I mean, you can't. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. Like, and then she's talking about this is when I lost all faith in him. 10 minutes into the story, this is when you lose all faith in him, and then you come back, then you walk it back and say, oh, he may not be a creep. And it's like, fam, he's a creep. And you are retarded, as I said before. But you know what? It seems like that's the end of the story. It seems like she's going to go into another story. So let me know if you guys want me to do a part 2 to the second half, or to her second story of this. Because I don't think I'm going to watch it unless you guys want me to. So let me know in the comments. Or make sure you guys hit that like. But also hit that subscribe, man. I got some more videos coming. I don't do these reaction videos often. I think the last time I did a reaction video was probably like 2 years or a year and a half ago. So yeah, make sure you guys let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do more reaction videos of shit like this. And make me angry. But make me angry for views, so whatever. But yeah, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. It's your boy Corn. I am OUT.